What's up, airplane collectors? Welcome to a new episode of Model Airplane Showdowns. I'm your host Ray, and in the skies today we have a long-anticipated competition between two legends in model manufacturing: the time-tested Gemini jets and the quickly climbing NG model. Today's aircraft is none other than the 1:400 scale Southwest Airlines Heart livery Boeing 737-700. The next gens from each manufacturer will go up against each other for one prize. Which is the best? The first entry hits the scene all the way from 2015, coming from Gemini jets. Being released 9 years ago now, let's see if the eldest of the two models reigns supreme. Its competitor is fresh off of the production line, coming from NG model. Released in 2024, will the younger of the two take the lead? For this competition, each model will be tested against the following categories. Each of the 11 categories has a maximum earning potential of 5 points, making a maximum final score of 55 points. The model to earn the highest number of points wins the competition. Tower to aircraft, the skies are clear, all systems go. Begin the showdown. Let's push back and start with size. Both manufacturers suffer a rough start. Gemini undershoots the fuselage length by 0.3 centimeters and overshoots the height by 0.1 centimeters, but they hit the wingspan dead center. NG surprisingly falls further behind, undershooting everything, 0.2 centimeters for the fuselage length and wingspan, and overshooting the height by 0.1 centimeters. For the size category, Gemini earns a 4, NG earns a 3. Taxiing on to the fuselage. The fuselages on both models are done well overall. The difference between both comes down to the nose profile. The Gemini nose is decent. It's not exactly on point, but it follows the general shape of the 737 nose. The section below the cockpit windows is too short and round, while the section above is not slanted enough. The NG nose is spot on. They did a great job on the nose profile. For the fuselage category, Gemini earns a 4, NG earns a 5. Lifting off with the wings. The Gemini model knocks it out of the park with molded detail. The level of intricate details on the wings is seriously impressive. The wing flex is also accurate. Overall, the wings are good in their shape and detail. However, the winglets are too wide and short. Additionally, paint application on the winglets is not perfect, with a few spots of paint overlapping in some places. The NG model falls behind its competition in molded detail, but the wings are still accurate. Wing flex is accurate as well. The winglets are a bit better than the Gemini version in terms of shape, but not by much, since the winglets are too tall and thin at the top. Paint application on the winglets is more consistent than the Gemini version, but NG loses out on any advantage because the blue stripe at the rear of the winglet is completely absent, which is a significant inaccuracy. Gemini earns a 4 for this category. NG earns a 3. Staying on course with the vertical stabilizer. Both models have solid vertical stabilizers. The Gemini model includes far more molded details on the vertical stabilizer than the one on the NG model. Painted and printed details are essentially equal for both models. Gemini earns a 5, NG earns a 4 since it lacks the same level of molded detail and color correctness that is present on the Gemini model, keeping it level with the horizontal stabilizers. The Gemini model comes in clutch with molded detail, far outshining its competition on the horizontal stabilizers. However, the stabilizers on the Gemini model are flexed far too high than what they should be. The NG model once again falls behind on molded detail, but they get the flex angle correct on the horizontal stabilizers. The paint application and quality on the horizontal stabilizers is roughly equal for both models. Both competitors earn a 4 in this category. Powering forward with the engines. The Gemini model faces some trouble here. The engines are larger than they should be, and their shape isn't the best. The exhaust nozzle is surprisingly accurate, but the fan detail is far too deep inside the engine. Painted and printed detail are good and accurate. The NG model also suffers in the engine department. They beat the Gemini model with engine size and proportions, but they fall behind on the exhaust nozzle. It is inaccurately shaped compared to the real aircraft. Painted and printed detail are on par with the Gemini model. Both models earn a 4 for this category. Let's talk about aerial details. The Gemini Jets model has accurate aerial details in the form of antennae and a sat dome. The sat dome shape is not 100% accurate, but it gets the job done. The antennae are also slightly large. The NG model has great aerial details. Antennae size is accurate, and so is the sat dome shape. However, NG loses any chance at beating Gemini here, since there is an extra antenna at the bottom of the model. This is not present on the real aircraft. Gemini earns a 4, NG earns a 3. Time to drop down to the landing gear. The Gemini gears aren't that great. They are crude and lacking in detail. The nose gear doors are too large as well. At least they are mounted correctly. Finally, NG does something right on this model. The NG model has great landing gear. The detail is good, and everything is accurately replicated. Gemini earns a 3, NG earns a 5 for the landing gear. Time for a trip to the paint shop. Overall, the Gemini model has good paint application. There are a few imperfections in the form of tiny splotches here and there, but they're super hard to recognize. The finish on the model is consistent and there are no signs of deterioration or issues. The colors accurately represent those of the real aircraft too. The NG model also has good paint application. There are no paint imperfections with regards to the application or finish. However, the colors. NG completely slaughtered the blue on the fuselage and engines. It is concerningly dark, and not even by a small margin. It's bad. Gemini earns a 5 for the paint job. NG gets a 1. Going in close and looking at printed detail. The Gemini model has a healthy selection of accurate printed details spread out throughout the model. Unfortunately, the overwing exit markings on the wings are inaccurate. When this aircraft was painted to the Heart livery, the overwing exit markings were switched to the newer configuration. I also noticed that the cockpit windows are weirdly shaped and a bit large. The NG model also has a ton of printed detail, almost identical to the Gemini model. However, NG gets the overwing exit markings correct. Gemini earns a 3, NG earns a 5. Both next gens are fighting tooth and nail for the prize. At long last, we have reached our last and final category: quality. The Gemini Jets model has a few imperfections. Overall assembly quality isn't the greatest, and paint splotches and overlaps are present. Still, the quality is decent. The NG model has very good assembly quality and a few imperfections with paint application. However, paint missing on the winglet and the blue color are significant issues with this model. Gemini earns a 4, and NG earns a 3 for quality. And now, the final results of today's showdown. The winner of the best prize today is Gemini Jets, earning a score of 45 points and an 82% overall. Boasting accurate and extensive detailing, this model remains at the top of the food chain in the diecast world. The runner-up for today is NG model, earning a score of 40 points and an overall score of 73%. I'm going to be completely honest, I expected better from NG. They've made great models before, but they dropped the ball with this one. With that, the historical battle between today's next gens comes to a close. Let me remind us all that although we found a winner for today's competition, both models are works of art, and there is something to appreciate out of both of them. Now, a bit of a personal note here. If you know me well enough, it's no secret that I prefer NG model. Typically, they make better products than Gemini Jets, in my opinion. This time, however, it seems as though this is not the case. So as much as I am reluctant to say this time, Gemini Jets beat NG model fair and square. The numbers won't lie, and I won't either. Gemini did a better job on this model. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Which model would you prefer? I definitely want to hear some opinions. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more model airplane content. Happy building, Happy collecting, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.